Guruji, welcome to the Sri Ekanath Bhagavad Satsang. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha, Om Shri Guru Dattatreya Namaha, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So we are doing Sri Ekanathi Bhagavad, chapter 2. We have completed verse 51. Today we will be starting from verse 52 and sub-verse 736. So, Sri Ekanath Bhagavad, chapter 2, verse 52. He is the best devotee of the Lord who makes no distinction between his own body and possessions and those of others. He looks on all beings with equal eye and is always calm. Now, in the last we ended, what is the sage Kavi sage Hari telling the King Janaka? He's saying the devotee is not at all aware what is duality. And he is always in oneness with God. And now he's going to be discussing about, I will tell you about this sense of oneness without any difference, which is the state of mind of such a devotee. We are talking about the highest devotee of Sri Krishna Bhagavan. So, when the devotee has no sense of I and mine or you and yours because of his total devotion to God, he is considered the best devotee. This is very important. In fact, I think in the last few days, even in Tripura Rahasyam, my Krishna Guruji has been teaching the same lesson. So what is he talking here? The devotee has no sense of I and mine, you and yours, or you and yours. Why? Because he's totally devoted to the Divine Lord. He's considered the best devotee. See, we always have this difference. It is I, me, myself. It is you, yours, somebody else. We have this distinction. We believe if it is ours, we have to give priority. We are attached. We give lot of importance or significance. But if it is somebody else, we don't even care. So similarly, like my Guruji will always ask this question. If somebody dies in your family, you're affected, you're upset, and you will be mourning. But if somebody from your neighbor's family dies, it doesn't matter to you. Why? Because you're not attached. The one thing which makes you feel it is yours, importance is all about the attachment. And where does this attachment come about? It is in the mind. I think we did this very beautifully yesterday. Everything, he says, right, the individual carries that burden on his mind. Why? Because he considers that it is my family, it's my job, it is my children, it is my husband, it's my wife, it's my house, you name it, people, places, things. All these possessions are in your mind. So give up this attachment. That is what he's talking about. Then, just as everything which touches, just as everything which touches the fire becomes fire, similarly, everything which such a devotee looks at automatically becomes Atman, which is himself. So again, when this highest devotee looks at anything or touches anything, what happens? It turns into the Atman itself. But one has to be in oneness with the Divine Lord for one to achieve this state. And then what is he saying? For example, he has no misgivings or doubts while giving his money to anybody else, because he has no concept of two persons separately. Even if somebody tries to poison his mind with doubt, his mind does not touch it. Oh wow, this is very powerful. Let us understand in detail. What is he saying here? He's saying here, for example, if this person gives, money to someone, he has no doubts at all come whatsoever or misgivings, okay? Because, he understands that it is Divine Lord. He's giving to the Divine Lord alone. We have this ownership. Oh, I am giving God. I am the one who's giving. See, we are not even saying the word offering. Many a time I had to correct people. You cannot give to God. You can only offer to Him. Because what is yours? If He is the one who doesn't give you, what can you offer to Him? Nothing is yours at the end of the day. Not even this breath we, take is not ours. So what ownership are you having? How can you give the Almighty Lord, who's the one, who's the mother, father, everything, the master of this universe? He is the one who gives you. If He doesn't provide for you, you will be nothing but a beggar on the street. Understand this truth. So He's very kind to you. So never ever have this ownership of anything. I am giving God. Never ever have this thought, even for a moment in your mind, which is very dangerous. So what he says here is, when he's giving, he doesn't have doubt at all, because he knows he's offering to the divine Lord. And because he has no concept of two persons separately. No matter who he is giving, he knows that he's offering to the divine Lord alone. And then what is he saying? Even if somebody tries to poison his mind with doubt, his mind does not touch it. Okay, this is a very important thing. Let me explain to you. Many years ago, one of my Guruji's dearest disciple, okay, she was very divine, she was very good, she was very loving, everything was going well. So what happened suddenly, she had a daughter, and my Guruji had told that, this daughter has to go and study and get her education abroad and in some universities, okay. He gave few names of some universities, and he said one of those she could choose. But see, what happens to a human being is, they become so impatient that they expect things to happen in their time, okay. So my Guruji said, see, if I have said something from my mouth, it is definitely going to happen, but not at your time. It happens at the God's appointed timing. Now, because that the process, whatever the time he committed, it didn't happen, she got very upset. She started believing that, look, my Guruji is granting to everybody else, but not to her daughter. Everybody is equal in the eyes of God. Please understand, we are all his children. He knows what is right for you, what is good for you, and when things has to happen. But we don't have patience, nor do we have that faith. So what is he saying? And when this happens, the mind starts getting doubts, right? Somebody is trying to say something. Oh, look, he is giving to his own, some other devotees' children, but not to yours. Whatever the mind can say, or people can talk. But what happens? The moment somebody puts this doubt in the mind, that turns into poison. And then you start believing that your Guruji is unfair. Can God ever be unfair? Will God put his children in any trouble? On the contrary, he's removing their troubles by telling them to do certain things so that he can rewrite their destiny. Because he knows that their future is in a big turmoil. There are a lot of trials and tribulations which they are not in a position to handle because of their karma. So the Guru is always giving you instructions so that he can, help you override your destiny and karma. Now what happened? She became very angry. She got angry. She got upset. Then she started calling names. She literally kicked Krishna Bhagwan out of her life and she went away. It is her loss at the end of the day. My Gurudev has nothing to lose. On the contrary, she has everything to gain if she were to be with my Gurudev. Even then, my Guruji will always wish her, send some good wishes, and she'll say, he'll always say, come and meet me. Don't get angry that I have nothing against you both. But the person thinks that it had to be given to her daughter at a particular time. But why are you taking ownership? Whose daughter is it? And who's taking this ownership? What is this attachment you have? So this is what is going to put you in jeopardy. And what is going to bring you? It is going to make you sorrowful, misery all your life. So here, what is he saying? Even if somebody tries to poison his mind with doubt, his mind does not touch it. This is the state of highest devotee. An average person will get upset with the Gurudev, will get angry, will curse God, will curse the Guru. What sort of a devotee then are you? Don't even call yourself devotee. You're not even devotee, first of all. First, become a good human being. Then you call yourself a devotee. My Guruji will always say, devotee doesn't exist also. You are either a seeker or a sadhaka, a disciple. First, you have to learn to be a good disciple to the Gurudev, to your Guru. Not until you be a good disciple can you become a devotee. Devotee comes next step, because that kind of pure devotion is very important. So this is exactly what happened. So her mind got poisoned. By whom? Her own illusion, the delusion that she created in her mind, that God is not giving my child, God is being unfair, God is being biased. Can God ever be biased? No, he knows what is right for every individual. Like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa ji says, the mother prepares the same, if she buys fish, she will prepare different things for different child, because she knows what each child likes. What she has to give, she knows very well. So similarly, The guru knows what is right for each individual and he will only do that much. But the faith and trust is very important, and that absolute faith and complete surrender is very important, no doubt. Like, in the Ganga if you have a bottle of Ganga water and you put one drop of potassium cyanide, what does it become? It becomes poison. So similarly is your mind. You don't even have control over your mind, so how can you be this highest devotee? You are going to think everything bad and negative and all wrong thoughts. That is the problem of your mind, not somebody else there. God is pure. Your Gurudev is God Almighty. He is a Sadguru. His purity. Nothing can touch him. He is not the body. Please understand. It is your mind which is contaminated. So be very careful. Next, if we give a thing which is in our right hand to our left hand. Okay, if we give a thing which is in our right hand to our left hand, who is the giver and who is the receiver there? Thus is his sense of unity about all the creatures in this world. So what he's simply saying is, it's an example. If you're giving it from your right hand to your left hand, then who is the giver and who are you giving it to? So he's saying everybody is equal in this universe. What is this ownership that you carry? This is mine, I, me, myself, I, me, myself. How petty the human beings are. Lust and greed drives him. You are not going to achieve anything in this world. Your life is going to be full of misery. Today we learned a very beautiful lesson. What does he say? The wealthiest person who has all the riches is the most fearful being of all. And the next one is the one who has all the attachment towards their family, people, relatives, friends, I don't know what not. And they are the ones who are going to be miserable to the core and living in sorrow all along. Understand why you are afraid. Go and understand. Because of your attachment. The word is attachment. So don't try to say, oh, I am not attached. I am okay. People have this stupid idea about, oh, I am not attached. You don't understand the level of attachment you are in. So till you do not let go the attachment, you are not going to progress in any which way. Underline this statement. Then, the devotees do not see anything else than God in their own bodies, and therefore peace stays happily there. This is so beautiful. What is he saying? The devotee do not see anything else than God even in their own bodies. They understand, I am not this body. This is God himself. This is also come from him. I don't even own this body. This does not even belong to me. So when they see God in their own bodies too, in their own self, then there is always peace. Are you in peace? You're constantly at, I don't know, going through some kind of emotion, some kind of thoughts, some kind of state. Your mood swings happen and I don't know what swings all go on. Constantly you're in a state of, you're frustrated, irritated. Your mind is talking too much over time. But what is important? The important thing to do is to stay in the state of tranquility. It is very important. This morning my Guruji was explaining. Even when we say you are happy or joyful, that state itself is still, you're swaying because it is a pairs of opposites. Why? Because you're in a state of happy state, which means you're still disturbed. Not in the negative sense, but in the positive sense. So whether something good happens or bad happens, your state has to be the state of equilibrium. That is what is important. Equanimity of mind. I've seen, like my Guruji will say, just see some little thing that happens in their life, something good, they'll be so excited. Oh, my problem is solved. I'm so happy. I got a new job. I got an increment. I got my visa. I'm going on a holiday. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. You're happy. Momentary happiness. But the same holiday will turn into misery. The same visa, you become a slave. You become nothing but a doormat. The same thing will put you into a bondage to, I don't know what, to how long. And you're getting into karmic debt endlessly. So why are you even disturbed? See, understand, everything surrendered at the feet of the Lord. Whatever the God wills will happen any which way. You just sleepwalk through everything. That is what he's saying. So the devotees of God are playing in the peace of their sense of equality, and therefore they attain the highest goal of mankind. Means what? There is a very important word he's used. So the devotees of God are playing in the peace of their sense of equality. Means what? Everybody is equal in this world. We don't carry any biases. See, the other day my Guruji was explaining a very powerful lesson. He's saying, if somebody were to rob you, you're going to curse that person took away your money and everything, and you're going to feel so bad, so miserable, you're always going to think about that person, you're going to hate him, all these things. But to the highest of the devotees, he does not do anything, because you know why? He sees everybody in the equal state. He says that is happening because God wills it. That is how it has to be. He accepts that. My Guruji many years ago would tell me, Rajma, the one very important thing why you struggle through things, to get along in life, is because you don't have an acceptance of life. What does that mean? Sometimes we have bad managers. This is where in my past life, okay, I mean, when I was working, at that time, some of my managers were very nasty, and I used to get frustrated beyond belief. So my Guruji said, see, understand, that is your karma. So acceptance is very important, and not paying attention. Why are you getting involved? Let him say whatever he wants to say. How does it matter? So the acceptance to what happens in your life is very important. But if you have a guru and you have surrendered, understand, he's the one who's running your life. Why are you even concerned? But you know how human beings are? They want it in a certain way. They want it in their way. It doesn't work like that. So acceptance to everything is very important. And seeing everyone with equal eye is most important. And above all, seeing God in everybody is very important. Just spread love. Give them goodness. It has taken literally, since I've been learning under my Gurudev, it has been almost 17 years. This body's father was biggest, he was always opposing what I was doing, meaning he didn't believe in all these things. For the first time yesterday, whether in whatever way he might have done, in a selfish motivation or whatever way, when he came and touched my Gurudev's feet, for me that was something beyond any words can express. But at the time, I did not feel elated, or I didn't feel anything. Because one thing my Gurudev has taught is that, see, everybody has their own connection with God. They are not your body's parents. They are only my body's parents. They are not my real parents. So I don't have to get attached to that. It is His, grace, and it is His oneness with the Divine Lord. So whatever He does, it is Him who's earning that merit. He's an individual soul. He has his own journey. This life is only a transaction. It's a repayment that this body is born to them. A repayment has to be done. But if I am attached, then I'm going to feel mighty pleased about it. If I do that, then I'm going to get into a karma with them. But just, I have to thank my Gurudev. Thank you. It is a very important thing to do. It's like an acknowledgement. Because for me to see that somebody who will not believe into anything, somebody who was deadly against, had that towards his end of life, today he is 78. God knows how many years he has left. Whatever the time is, if he is going towards that path, it's the greatest thing. That's all. So, most important, everybody's journey is individual. So do not get attached into anybody's life, and don't get into anyone's karma. It's a very important thing. Stay away. Stay out of it. O King, now I shall tell you about the virtue of non-expectation in case of these devotees. In describing about the best devotees, the sage Hari was having great inspiration and energy. Absolutely. Non-expectation. This is a very important lesson. He said, one who has no expectation of anything is the main devotee. He is the really ascetic and the really liberated person for all times. The God himself is not expecting anything from anybody. This is very, 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 very profound. We always think that people have to do certain things, people have to behave in a certain way, people have to, follow certain decorum. There are a lot of things. Forget about even following. But we have expectations from our, like I said, people. That is your own relatives, your friends, your family, your acquaintance. We have expectation from literally from everybody. So what is he saying? He said, one who has no expectation of anything is the main devotee. He is the highest devotee. The devotee of the Lord doesn't have any expectation from anybody. My Guruji will day in and day out repeat this to me. Rajma, I have no expectation from anyone. I am not even expecting them to be disciplined. I am not expecting anybody to acknowledge me. I am not expecting them to even fall at my feet. My Gurudev doesn't expect anything from anybody. Understand this. See, if you do, well and good. If you don't do, also well and good. He will not, anybody who comes here, he will not even say, oh, please do this work or do that work. It is an individual thing to do the seva of the Gurudev. One of the important lessons which I didn't touch upon is the highest one. So most important, number one is you need to have a Sadguru. The number two requirement is you have to do Guru Seva. Seva of the Sadguru is very, very important. But my Guruji will say, I have no expectation that anybody has to come and do my service. If they do, it is good. If they don't do, also it is okay. I have nothing to expect from anybody. That is his state at all times. And in 17 years, every single day, he will always say at least once, I have no expectation. I am not even expecting anything. This is the truth. And then what he says, he is the really ascetic and the really liberated person for all times. If he has to do something, my Gurudev will do and just keep going away. He's not even going to talk about it. But people who will do a little bit and they'll blow their own trumpet. Oh, look, I did this, I did that. You have to very quietly do. You don't talk about what you do. And one of the most important lessons which we did, what is it? I do. You have to give up this whole aspect called I do. Relinquish the sense of doership, Arjuna. Krishna Bhagavan says, and don't be attached to the fruits of action, the end result. It is none of your business. You are only a puppet in the hands of the puppeteer. So where is the question of you are doing? You are nothing in this world. Understand that much. To be the highest devotee, the most important thing is humility, humbleness. And not have any expectation from anybody. Don't even have anything. Then what is he saying? The God himself is not expecting anything from anybody. This is the truth. This is what my Guruji stands for. He has absolutely minus expectation from anyone. He knows you can't even fit in. He knows where you stand. So what expectation can he have? But he will always say, if you do this, well and good. It is good for you. And he's not going to get any benefit out of it. Understand, it is your welfare. It is your upliftment. It is your growth. And if you don't do, that is your funeral too. It is self-effort. Krishna Bhagavan stands by what he teaches in Bhagavad Gita. You are your own best friend and you are your own worst enemy. Who do you want to be? The choice is in your hands. And only through self-effort one can lift oneself up. Not by any other way. And the Guru will teach you the way of life. So if you follow, you can evolve. And if you don't follow, anyway, you are going to go in the gutters. That is your choice. So Bhagavad Gita, Shri Ekanati Bhagavat. So we are doing chapter 2. Now we'll continue verse 53. He is the foremost of the votaries of Lord Vishnu, whose memory of the Lord is ever fresh, and who, even for the empire of all the three worlds, does not turn away his attention from the adoration of the Lord's lotus feet, even for half the time of twinkling of an eye. The feet which are sought after by gods and others of minds fixed on the invincible Lord. This is extremely powerful. Let us understand what it means. In the effort of achieving his own real welfare, the devotee loves and devotes himself with tremendous faith and puts all his mental activities to the service of the Hari's feet. Oh my God, we are just discussing this. Service of Hari's feet. How does he do? Let me reread again. In the effort of achieving his own real welfare, your own real welfare, the devotee loves and devotes himself with tremendous faith. It's not just mere faith. I have people who will say, yeah, I have faith, but, the moment the but comes, your faith has become minus. You are not even at a zero, you are at a minus level. So please don't even open your mouth. Tremendous amount of faith and puts all his mental activities to the service of Hari's feet. What does it mean? In your mind, you're only chanting his name. You cannot be thinking about all nonsensical things in your mind. So how will God ever come to you? Even if God is standing in front of you, you will still not have any devotion because you are lost in your mind with some other thoughts. What is he saying? Puts all his mental activities to the service of Hari's feet. Service of Hari's feet is the most important thing. At that time, even if all the riches in the three worlds would come to him, requesting him to accept them, he would not deviate his attention even for a moment from the feet of Hari. Can we find one being like this? What is he saying? At that time, even if all the riches in all the three worlds would come to him, requesting him to accept, he would not deviate his attention even for a moment from the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna. What will happen to you if you get all the riches of all the three worlds? Oh, I don't need my Krishna Bhagavan. I rather have all the Maya in the world. That is what you will be. You think you will have this kind of devotion to lotus feet of Sri Krishna Bhagavan? Not at all. Because Maya is very enticing. Oh, I'm going to be the Lord of three worlds, have all the riches. But how is the highest devotee? He doesn't care. He knows it is worthless. This morning only we have read, wealthy people are fearful. There's no freedom in their life. This riches will make you bound. So the highest devotee doesn't even care about it. And he doesn't want to waste even a moment not thinking about the Lord's feet. He is always in absorption, in oneness and in service at the lotus feet of the Divine Lord. If he would but for a moment turn his mind away, all the glory of the three worlds would be in his hand. Then what is the benefit for him in sacrificing so much? If you ask this, I shall presently tell you. All the glories of the three worlds are for the devotees as a trifling compared to half a moment of bliss when they have the glimpse of the feet of Hari. Do you know how many people want to have this little glimpse of the lotus feet of the God, Shri Krishna Bhagavan? You have no idea. What does that feet stand about? What does it mean to even touch that feet? And when he himself is standing and you're privileged to touch that feet, you have no idea. Even gods want a glimpse and a grace to touch that feet. You don't know the power that exists at that lotus feet. That feet, just the one touch can turn everything away, can ward off all the evil in this world. It's a magical feet. Entire love, entire knowledge, everything rests at that lotus feet. Actually, Brahma is the creator of all the worlds, and naturally the universal opulence and glories are at his command. The creator is obviously of great power and status than the worlds. Even he is searching for Hari's feet for the great joy of their nearness. Even Brahmaji is searching for the Hari's feet so that he can enjoy that bliss of his feet. You don't know the power that exists in that feet. You know, we take it for granted when we have this privilege in our life. I always keep saying this. It is without my Gurudev's grace, nobody can even enter this place. It is he who brings you. Don't think you are coming here. It is your decision. I am sorry. Here, what is it being saying? To be at his feet means what? To be under him. You have no idea what it means. So don't even take this opportunity to be something like, oh, you're doing a big favor. Your Gurudev is doing a favor on you. Always remember this and be very grateful for it. Don't become ungrateful, because Maya can come in a second and she can taint your mind and you will say all the nonsensical things and you can walk out. It doesn't matter. It's you are at loss, not anybody else. So be very, very careful and thankful that you have this Sadguru in your life, and value that and use this opportunity to evolve in your life. Don't waste time. Don't waste your life, because this is a very precious and priceless life that you have, a priceless opportunity. Don't waste this human birth. By putting aside all the pleasures of his state, Brahma goes into seclusion to meditate on Hari's feet. But he is not able to reach those feet. You can't even hold the glimpse of that feet. You think it's so easy? Try meditating on your Gurudev's feet. You can't even hold even for a second. That is the power. It's not so easy to meditate on the lotus feet of Lord Hari. Brahma suffered from pride because he did not reach Hari's feet and did the mistake of stealing and hiding away the cows, the calves and the cowherds from Gokul. So what did he do? He got pride. He got very angry. So he's told, we know the story. I even told the story recently as well. So I'm not going to go in the story, but what did he do? Brahma suffered from pride. With pride, you cannot, have this single pointed devotion to Hari's feet. You can't meditate on it. You have to first become humble, humility and humbleness. Even Brahmaji, though being the creator of this world, cannot get to meditate on Hari's feet. So what happened? Brahma suffered from pride because he did not reach Hari's feet and did the mistake. What did he do? He did a very big mistake of stealing and hiding away the cows, the calves and the cowherds from Gokul. And what did Krishna Bhagavan do? He became everything. And he literally cut off Brahmaji's nose. So you better not spite anybody. He's the master of this universe. And he showed Brahmaji how there is, to infinity or, to the power of n, there are so many universes and so many Brahmajis. If he wants, he can replace him like this. Everybody is dispensable. Nobody is indispensable. Understand? You can be replaced like this. My Guruji will always say, I give everybody a chance. And it doesn't take me too much time to create somebody else in that place. So kindly don't mess. Don't bring your mind. Don't destroy that opportunity God has given you. And at that time, Lord Shri Krishna himself became all the cattle and cowherds without having any lacuna in his own nature and glory. Simple as that. Seeing this wonderful miracle, Brahma was astonished and leaving all his pride about his powers, he surrendered himself to Hari's feet with total faith. Everybody has to come down, kneel down. You can't have this kind of ego and arrogance. It can be Brahmaji or anybody in this world. So who are we? So have this humility first. Have devotion, have this love. Goodness is very important. Be your good self. You cannot misbehave. Don't get into your mind state and think all the nonsensical things and try to attribute to your past, present, future, all that crap. Get over it. You have to think now and evolve in your path. This moment is a gift. That is why it is called present. And Krishna Bhagavan himself is the very essence of that time. And you lose this time, it is never ever going to come back to you. So be very careful and value time. The Lord Shankara, as a ruler of Kailasha, whom Brahma obeys, has left his Kailasha and gone to a cemetery in seclusion, and he meditates there on the feet of Lord Hari. Do you know Lord Shiva is the highest devotee of Lord Hari? He is always in meditation on the lotus feet of Lord Hari. He is not thinking about anybody else. And he wears a loincloth, smears ashes on his body, bearing great bunch of hair on his head, and placing the river Ganga as the sanctified waters of Hari, feet of Hari. He always does meditation on Hari's feet. What does it mean? It is the Ganga flows from Hari's feet. And where is it? The matted hair of Shiva. And he is meditating on Krishna Bhagavan. So understand, Lord Shiva is the highest devotee of Shri Krishna Bhagavan. So even the Lords Shankara and Brahmadeva do not understand the greatness of the feet of Hari. And compared to these two, if a poor man thinks that the enjoyment of glories of the three worlds is better than Hari's feet, he should be considered the most unfortunate being. Oh my God. Eknath Maharaj himself is giving the answer. I don't think I need to even explain, but I will read this again for you so that you understand a little bit. What is he saying? So, even the Lords Shankara and Brahmadeva do not understand the greatness of the feet of Hari. So, do you think you understand the greatness of the feet of your Sadguru, who is Krishna Bhagavan himself? You are going to treat him, very ordinarily. You talk to him whichever way, you behave to him whichever way, you think he's some roadside person and you can ask him whatever you feel like. This is how people behave with him. Understand, he's Krishna Bhagavan. Don't go by his appearance. The greatness of his feet is not understood even by Lord Shiva or Brahma. So who are you, you think? You think you're some great being, is it? Don't have this pride. And people have this very thing, I am learning spiritual. You means you have become some great person. You just got one simple opportunity to become a good human being. Spirituality is a far away subject for you. And compared to these two, if a poor man, poor man thinks that the enjoyment of glories of the three worlds is better than Hari's feet, he should be considered the most unfortunate being. So you know how many unfortunate beings exist? I think almost 8 billion, 8 point some billion people. Because only handful of them get to be with the Krishna Bhagwan. And in that also hardly people even understand the greatness of his lotus feet. They don't even know what this Sadguru means also. That is what happens. Very sad state. Please remember that the devotees do not care at all for all the kingdom and glory of the three worlds compared to one moment of attainment of unity with Hari's feet. One moment of attainment of unity of Hari's feet is all they care. Because you know why? It is the most difficult thing to attain. You don't know the value of this, what you have. So don't ever disregard and don't behave whichever way you feel like. Learn to follow the protocol. Learn to behave nicely. First, become a human being. Don't behave like a roadside person. Because it is very important that you be very humble in front of your Sadguru. He's not some ordinary human being. If a devotee gets half a moment of the bliss, of the glimpse of Hari's feet, he will throw away all the heaps of pleasures available in three worlds. You know, these devotees are just half a minute, not even a half a second. They just want a glimpse of this Hari's feet. Do you know Ganga? She waits and waits and waits for the holy feet of the Sadguru to be dipped in her. You don't know what it means for her. She is craving for it. Wherever my Gurudev goes, if there is Ganga, when we go to, whether it is in Kolkata or we go to Haridwar, a little bit when he dips his holy feet in Ganga, she becomes pavitra, she becomes pure. Purity. He absolves her of all sins there. It is he who purifies her. It's not the other way around. In short, there is nothing so important as the feet of Hari in this whole world. And therefore, the devotees hold fast in their mind and heart these sacred feet of Hari only. So the highest of the devotee, they understand that nothing in this world matters except holding on to the Hari's feet in their mind and heart. That is all they need. Don't need any wealth. Nothing is equivalent to holding on to the glimpse of the Hari's feet in their heart. That is all the bliss that is. You have no idea how blissful it is. O king, they do not let their mind miss the feet of Hari even for the time of batting the lids of eye. Means what? Even one wink also they don't want to miss that moment. They just want to be lost in the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna Bhagwan or for the snap of the fingers. And only such devotees are the best in the Vaishnavas, the highest of devotees of Shri Krishna Bhagwan. But there are persons who are prey to the pleasures of the glory of the three worlds. How they repent and how taking resort of the feet of Hari can only release them from that bondage is what I am going to tell you. Please pay attention. This is the next thing which he is going to discuss, which is very important for us. What is it he is going to say? But there are persons who are prey to the pleasures of the glory of the three worlds. Do you see people going after, oh, I want to be the greatest, thing in this world. I want to be the richest. I want to be a politician. I want to be some great person. All that pleasures of the worlds of three worlds. They want position, name, fame, recognition, money, whatnot. And so what is he saying? How they repent. These people who run after all these things in the material world, how they repent and how taking resort of the feet of Hari only can release them from that bondage. Till you don't take refuge of the lotus feet of your Gurudev, who's Lord Shri Krishna Bhagwan, the Sadguru himself, till you don't take refuge at his feet, you cannot get redemption from the material worldly bondage. Understand this. Is what I'm going to tell you. Please pay attention. So in the next satsang, we will be learning about it. So now we have completed chapter 2, verse 53 and sub-verse 762. Now we will stop here. Thank you for joining Shri Ekanathi Bhagwat Satsang. Have a good day and good evening to you all. God bless.